What if I told you the greatest storyteller in history might not have existed the way you think? A man who never went to college, who lost his son at 11, and yet whose words still echo in presidential speeches, modern films, and wedding vows today. His name? William Shakespeare. But the real story is much more than Romeo and Juliet. He lived in a time of plague, public hangings, and brutal censorship. One wrong word could get you executed. So how did a glovemaker's son become the voice of humanity? And what can his life teach us about ambition, grief, love, and choosing the right path when the world feels against you? This is not just Shakespeare's story. This might just be yours too. Born in 1564 in Stratford-upon-Avon, Shakespeare was no aristocrat. His dad made gloves. His family? Illiterate. So, how did he learn to write like a genius? No diaries. No letters. Not even a portrait made during his life. Some believe he didn't even write the plays. A mystery still debated by scholars and conspiracy theorists alike. Imagine becoming the most quoted man in history, and still having people argue if you were just the intern. But what we do know. At 18, he married Anne Hathaway. No, not that Anne Hathaway. She was 26. He was a teen. And soon he vanished from records. When he reappears years later, he's in London, writing plays, creating characters like Hamlet, Macbeth, Othello. Stories dripping with betrayal, ambition, doubt, emotions we still wrestle with. But his plays weren't just art. They were coded messages, satire disguised as fiction. In a world where the wrong opinion could get you beheaded, Shakespeare hid truth in metaphor. And just when he found fame, he faced the greatest loss of all, his only son, Hamnet, dead at 11. So how did the world's most brilliant writer survive heartbreak, and still write stories about hope? ACT 3, The Message, Legacy, Loss, and Living Fully, 1130 to 1500 hours. After Hamnet died, his writing changed. It became darker, more philosophical. To be or not to be wasn't just Hamlet's question. It was his. Think about that. When life crushed him, Shakespeare didn't run from pain. He wrote through it. He turned grief into greatness. By the time he retired to Stratford, he had written 39 plays, 154 sonnets, and over 1,700 new English words. Words like lonely eyeball, and even bedroom, all Shakespeare. But here's what no one tells you. He died at just 52. No farewell tour. No grand memoir. Just silence. And yet, over 400 years later, we still read his work. Still find ourselves in his characters. So what's the lesson? You don't need perfect circumstances to create meaning. You don't need fame, or followers, or a fancy degree. You just need your voice, and the courage to use it. Because when the world feels chaotic, art, truth, and courage are the only things that last. Just like Shakespeare's words. Maybe your story could echo too. But what?